How much better would the world be if a jet could turn into a helicopter? What if a helicopter could turn into a motorcycle? What if a motorcycle could turn into a submarine? And what if every toy car had safety belts? What if I told you it already happened 30 years ago? Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and these are 10 things you need to know about Mask. Number 1, Mask hit the shelves for the first time in 1985, the biggest year in American pop culture ever. You needed to put out a strong original product if you were going to survive. It was a very crowded market that put heavy demands on a 10-year-old kid's time and their parents' wallets. At theaters, Back to the Future, Goonies, Rocky IV, Breakfast Club, Reanimator on television, Thundercats, Robotech, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Growing Pains, MacGyver, Nintendo hit the US, The Hole in the Ozone Layer, New Coke, Calvin and Hobbes, Blockbuster is Born, Hypodermics, On the Shore, Rock and Roller Color Wars, and the toy shelves were stocked with Star Wars, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and He-Man stuff. Number 2. Mask was a product of Kenner, who were doing pretty good in 1985, rolling out their 8th year of Star Wars toys as well as their 2nd year of DC superpowers. But dark days were ahead. Kenner was actually experiencing the last gasps of Star Wars as it tried to pivot to droids and Ewoks. And while their DC superpowers were killing Mattel's Marvel's Secret Wars, it's a line that would only last for one more year. Mask was positioned to take on Transformers with its own transforming gimmick while simultaneously hitting the figure and vehicle note to make it competitive against G.I. Joe and to retain some of the Star Wars crowd. Kenner knew it was going to be a steep drop-off in sales when Star Wars ended. Could Mask be the property to fill the gap? Number 3. Mask was part of the generation of toys supported by cartoons that were demonized by child advocacy groups as 30-minute advertisements to sell toys masquerading as entertainment and possessing no redeeming educational value. Of course, this argument assumes that kids had no choice in whether or not they watched. Sorry, conservative parents of 1985, but not only was I watching cartoons because I wanted to, but because they were 30-minute advertisements masquerading as entertainment and possessing no redeeming educational value. I loved toys, and I loved watching pictures of those toys fighting each other with laser sound effects and rock and roll music theme songs. After spending 6 hours in school, what am I supposed to watch on TV when I get home? The McNeil-Lehrer Report? A sports ball game? Donahue? And I would even go so far as to say that I learned plenty from those cartoons about conflict resolution and the interpersonal relationships with mutants, robots, and aliens, as well as how to navigate a society that is oversaturated with 24-hour targeted marketing that tries to sell me stuff from the moment I wake up to the moment I go back to sleep. These are things that have actual value to me today in the year 2016 and beyond. MASK is an acronym which stands for Mobile Armored Strike Command. Yeah, with a K. I don't know, maybe it's German or something, like Der Kommissar. But seriously, it's the name of the brand, and that was the best you could do? Command with a K? I'm guessing we can come up with something better for that K right here, right now. Knights. Kings. This is hard. K is a really bad letter for an acronym. Maybe this thing was doomed from the start. They fought against Venom, the vicious evil network of Mayhem. Mayhem, of course, being the name of the leader of Venom, Miles Mayhem, but also tripling down on the vicious and evil nature of the team because nuance and subtlety are for adults who read books. Number 5. Transforming vehicles were the focus, that's why the figures are so tiny. The Boulder Hill playset was big as it was. It would have been huge if it was a 3 3/4 inch line or larger. Additionally, each character had a superpowered helmet or mask with a specific power like Cliff Dagger's torch, which shoots fire, or Alex Sector's Jackrabbit, which lets him levitate as rabbits are known to do. Shortly after the line began, Kenner switched the design of the tiny helmets to make several of them very slightly less tiny. Why slightly different, slightly larger versions? Well, I admit that I've never tried very hard. I've never been able to figure out a direct reason for the change. Probably because they were too small and a slightly larger mask would be less of a choking hazard, possibly to make it harder for them to get lost, possibly to make collectors like me crazy. I'm open to conspiracy theories, please. Submit those in the comments section below. Number 6. By year 3, the good versus evil battle morphed into good races evil. Venom was still trying to pull off their various kidnapping, ransom, ancient hidden treasure schemes, but most of them revolved around that being the prize at the end of the race. It wasn't nearly as compelling a storytelling or toy-selling device, but that wouldn't stop Kenner from pushing it one step further by adding a second holographic driver to each vehicle in the last wave called Split Seconds. While translucent figures seem like the cure for what ails your toy line, it probably only gets you one more sale to a guy named Dan Larson. Also, Ninja Turtles came out this year, marking the end of the 80s and the beginning of the 90s. Number 7, Kenner released the last Mask toys in 1988, and in 1991, Kenner was consumed whole by Hasbro, allowing Hasbro to add all of Kenner's essence to their own, making a stronger hybrid Super Hasbro that would be poised to recycle every property both companies ever produced for the next 30 years and the 30 years after that. Hasbro, till all are one. Number 8. In 2008, Hasbro snuck Matt Trakker into their 25th anniversary G.I. Joe line, getting me and everyone else at MattTrakker.com really excited. I mean, you don't just throw that out there just because, right? There must have been a plan. Trakker on the Joes, Mayhem on the Cobras, Biff Bang Pow spin off the 25th anniversary mask line in 2010. Fast forward to today. Fast forward, please, to the day when the wait finally ends, to the day when Matt Trakker gets into Thunderhawk and fastens his safety belt again. Number 9. In 2011, Mask had a flash of a hint of a comeback, but not really, in a Hasbro event called Unit E. Unit E, is this thing on? It was intended to be a big shared universe thing involving Mask, Micronauts, Action Man, Jem, Stretch Armstrong, and of course, Battleship. Trademarks were re-upped, URLs were purchased, concepts were reimagined, and one San Diego Comic-Con exclusive teaser book was issued. For reasons that remain a mystery to everyone who worked on the script for this video, the idea was abandoned, or at the very least, put on hold for a few years until we as consumers of pop culture were really sold on the ideas of shared universes being the new standard for any and every film franchise. Number 10. Which brings me to, just this year, Hasbro announced their new shared universe, which kicks off in the pages of the IDW comic books, featuring Mask, Rom, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Action Man, Micronauts, Visionaries, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Coming soon to an omnipresent 24-hour marketing cycle and theaters near you. Those are 10 things you need to know about Mask, a former competitor, now ally of Transformers and G.I. Joe, thanks to the magic of corporate acquisitions. It was a unique toy line in an era saturated with unique toy lines that refused to be left out of the renaissance of 80s properties, no matter how far down at the bottom of the barrel it was. Thanks for watching. Give this video a like if you are a fan of Mask, or if you've never heard of it. I think that covers everyone. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on future lists and the rest of the... Is that quality programming? Word didn't seem right there. Quality programming being developed on a weekly basis here at Toy Galaxy. Share the link and let us know in the comments below if there are any other words that start with K that would have made sense in that acronym. Double points if it actually is a synonym for team or group or force. Kickoff? Does that make sense? Kickoff? Mobile Armored Strike Kingpins? That doesn't work. That's not good. Cut.